The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the ceiling. White, bright, blurry. Then came the pain. Not sharp, just heavy, like someone had dropped bricks on my whole body. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. My throat burned. And then, voices. Oh my God, he's awake. That was my mom. Daniel, can you hear us? My dad leaned over me, his face lined with worry. You're okay, son. You made it. I blinked, slowly. Everything hurt. I had no idea where I was. Then I remembered the crash. The rain. The headlights. The sound of the car spinning. And after that, nothing. I was in a hospital. I'd been in a coma. For 2 weeks. A nurse came in, checked my IV, and smiled gently. Welcome back, Daniel. You're a miracle. I tried to nod. My chest felt too tight. I was alive. I should have been relieved. But something felt off. The way my parents kept exchanging looks, like they weren't just worried, they were hiding something. And I was right, because not long after, my dad sat down next to me and said quietly, Daniel, we're glad you're okay. But, there's something we need to tell you. I remember the way the room went quiet. The way my mom took my hand, but didn't meet my eyes. That's when I knew. They weren't here to comfort me. They were here to confess. Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm 17, and what happened to me still doesn't feel real. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you, this story is for you. Stick around, and if this makes you feel something, share it. Somebody out there might need to hear they're not alone. I don't remember much from the accident, just flashes. Rain slapping the windshield, the loud blare of a horn. Bright lights. Then silence. I had taken the car out that night to pick up some notebooks I'd left at school. Finals were around the corner, and I was preparing early. That's who I was. Focused, organized. I had big dreams. I was supposed to be the first in our family to attend college on a full ride. I had spent years working hard, extra classes, volunteering, saving every bit I could. I'd gotten 2 scholarships already. On my birthday last year, my parents surprised me with a college savings account. I was so proud. They told me, you've earned this, Daniel. This is your future. I believed them. My older brother, Leo, was the opposite of me. He was charming, funny, but always in trouble. Small stuff at first, sneaking out, skipping school, borrowing money he never paid back. But as we grew older, the small stuff became serious. He couldn't keep a job. He got into fights. And then he started lying, to friends, family, even employers. Still, no matter what Leo did, our parents always defended him. He just needs time. He's under pressure. He's trying. Daniel, can't you see that? I stopped trying to argue. They treated me like the stable one. The good son. I was supposed to understand, to forgive, to make room for Leo's messes. But I never thought they'd take from me to clean one of them up. Not like this. Not everything I had worked for. As I lay in that hospital bed, staring at their faces, I could barely believe what I was hearing. You used my college fund. I croaked, my voice weak and cracked. My mom squeezed my hand. It was Leo, Daniel. He got caught up in something bad. He didn't mean to. He just made a mistake. A big mistake, my dad added quickly. He was arrested. They were talking about jail time. We had to act fast. There was no one else to help him. I looked between them. So you used my money. We didn't have a choice, my mom said, her eyes watering. Leo needed help. I couldn't speak. My chest felt tight. It wasn't just the money. It was what it meant. All those late nights. All that planning. All that hope. Gone. My dad leaned forward. Daniel, we know it's not ideal. But family sticks together. Leo is your brother. And you're alive, my mom whispered, like that should somehow make it okay. That's the most important thing. I looked away from them. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to scream. I just wanted to wake up again. Go back to before. Back when I thought I mattered to them, too. But I was already awake. This was real. And it was just the beginning. I stared at the ceiling, trying to breathe slowly. My chest hurt, not just from the accident, but from the words I had just heard. They had taken everything, my future, my effort, my dream, gone. Say something, Daniel, my dad said softly. We know it's a lot. I turned my head slightly. My voice came out hoarse. How much? They looked at each other. All of it, my mom said, her voice cracking. We had to move quickly, the lawyer wasn't cheap. I shut my eyes. That fund had over $85,000 in it. Between scholarships, savings, and awards. That was supposed to cover everything, tuition, books, housing. I had spent my whole teenage life building that fund. And they gave it all away. To Leo. Leo, who never stayed out of trouble for more than a few months. Who had dropped out of community college. Who had been caught lying on job applications. Who laughed when I brought home another honor roll certificate. You used everything, I whispered, without asking me. You were in a coma, my mom said gently. We couldn't ask you. We had to act fast or Leo would have gone to prison. So you chose him over me. My throat tightened. Again. Don't say that, my dad snapped. This wasn't about choosing, wasn't it? They both fell quiet. I pushed myself up slightly. Every muscle screamed in protest, but I didn't care. You knew how hard I worked. You knew what that money meant to me. He's your brother, Daniel, my mom said. He was desperate. And what about me? My voice rose. What about my future? You're smart. You'll figure it out, my dad said, his tone shifting, like I was being unreasonable. We're not saying college is off the table. We'll figure something out. Something. I blinked at them. Like what? More scholarships. A loan. You think that's easy for someone like me? You're alive, Daniel. You got a second chance. Leo deserved one too. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just whispered, why does his second chance have to be paid with my first? They had no answer. The silence was louder than anything else in the room. Just then, the door opened. Leo walked in. I hadn't seen him in months. He looked the same, confident. Hands in his hoodie pockets, chewing gum like he didn't have a care in the world. Hey, bro, he grinned. Glad you're awake. I stared at him. He walked over and gave me a quick pat on the shoulder like we were close. You scared the hell out of everyone, man. 2 weeks in a coma. That's wild. I didn't say anything. He looked over at our parents. Did you tell him? They nodded. Cool, he said, with a shrug. Look, I know it sucks. But I'll make it up to you someday. I looked at him, finally speaking. You knew it was mine. And you still took it. He raised his eyebrows. I didn't take it. Mom and Dad said it was okay. And you didn't think to say no. He shrugged again. What was I supposed to do? Go to jail. I swallowed hard. Maybe. That hit him. His smile faded for a second. I'm not the bad guy here, Leo said. I messed up, yeah. But we're family. My heart ached. He sounded like our parents. I looked at them. You taught him this. That there are no consequences. That I'll always be the one to sacrifice so he can fail again. Daniel, please, my mom whispered, tears falling now. We didn't want this, but we couldn't lose another child. That broke me. Another. Emotionally, she rushed to explain. We were losing him emotionally. But I heard it. I heard what she really meant. They were more afraid of losing Leo to the system, than losing me to betrayal. The nurse knocked and stepped in. Visiting time's up, she said kindly. My parents stood. Leo gave me a small nod before walking out like nothing happened. Before my dad left, he turned back and said, we're doing our best, son. You'll see one day. I didn't answer. I just stared at the door. Doing their best. Their best had cost me everything. The door clicked shut behind them, and suddenly the room felt twice as cold. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, too numb to cry. I tried to tell myself it was just a nightmare. That I'd wake up again and everything would be okay. But I was already awake. And nothing was okay. The nurse came in to check on me again. You need anything, sweetheart? I shook my head. She paused, studying my face. Your parents just left. You look like you need someone. I forced a small smile. I'm fine. She didn't push, just nodded and left me in the silence. But I wasn't fine. I was 17, barely able to move, and I had just lost everything I'd worked for, while lying unconscious in a hospital bed. How was that fair? I picked at the blanket on my lap, my fingers trembling. I couldn't stop hearing Leo's voice. What was I supposed to do? Go to jail. Yes, Leo, that's exactly what you were supposed to do. I remembered all the times I watched him get away with things I would have never dared to try. He stole, lied, dropped out, failed, and still, they loved him like he was the son. Me, I followed the rules, got good grades, stayed out of trouble, and now I was the one left with nothing. A few hours later, my phone buzzed on the bedside table. I reached for it, wincing from the pain. It was a text from Leo. No hard feelings, right? I owe you one, lil bro. I stared at the screen. I didn't respond. That night, when the room was dark and quiet, I cried. Not from the pain in my body, but from the one in my chest. The kind that doesn't show up on an X-ray. The kind that stays. The next morning, my mom came back alone. She brought a small bag of clothes and some snacks I used to like. She sat down beside me, looking tired. Daniel, I know this hurts. But please try to understand. We were scared. We didn't know what else to do. I didn't look at her. You didn't even ask my opinion. You weren't awake. You didn't wait. She looked down. We were afraid we'd lose him. You already lost me, I said quietly. Her eyes filled with tears. Don't say that. It's true. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. I'm not ready to forgive you, I said. Or him. Maybe one day. But not now. She wiped her face and nodded. Okay, I'll be here when you are. She left the bag beside me and walked out, slowly. I sat there in silence again, this time with a knot in my stomach. They wanted me to understand. But all I could feel, was that I didn't matter as much as Leo did. And I didn't know if I ever really had. I didn't argue anymore. I didn't scream, beg, or try to make them understand. I just stopped talking about it. After I was discharged from the hospital, I focused on my recovery. Physical therapy 3 times a week. Speech sessions to get my voice strong again. I went back to school late, limping through the halls, ignoring the stares. Everyone had questions. I didn't answer. I studied quietly, ate alone, applied to smaller colleges no one had heard of. Ones that didn't need big tuition deposits up front. Community programs. Online certifications. While everyone else posted about dorms and acceptance letters, I was building something else. Silently, I started tutoring kids online in math and English. Then added science. Then SAT prep. Soon, I was getting messages from students across the country. Kids like me. Kids who had been ignored, left behind, used. I built a platform help desk youth. I hired 3 tutors. Then 5. Then 20. By the time I was 20, we were in 5 countries. Our message was simple. If they won't invest in you, invest in yourself. We offered free tools, scholarships, job prep. I stayed off camera most of the time. I let the mission speak louder than my name. Until one day, I got an invitation. A national youth event. Big venue. Bigger audience. And they wanted me to be the keynote speaker. I said yes. I didn't know my parents and Leo would be there, until I stepped out backstage and saw them sitting in the second row. Leo had on a suit. My dad looked older. My mom clutched her purse in her lap like a shield. They didn't recognize me at first. Then I walked onto the stage. The crowd clapped. And when I spoke, I didn't mention names. I didn't point fingers. I just said, slowly, sometimes, the people you expect to save you, are the ones who sell you out first. The room went silent. But healing isn't about getting even. It's about building something they can't take from you. Something they'll never understand. Applause started softly, then louder. The whole room stood. Except my family. They just sat there. Still, speechless. Leo blinked, jaw clenched. My dad rubbed his neck. My mom's eyes glistened. I didn't smile out of revenge. I smiled because I had made it, without them. And they knew it. After the applause faded and I stepped down from the podium, I could feel it before I even turned around. Their eyes. My family's eyes. They were still sitting in the second row, looking like ghosts, quiet, pale, and stunned. I walked backstage slowly, breathing steady, heart pounding. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was ready. I had just taken back my voice, and I wasn't going to shrink now. As I reached the hallway near the side exit, I heard my name. Daniel. I turned. It was my mother. She walked toward me, her heels clicking on the floor, her hands clutched tight in front of her. Daniel, she said again, eyes glossy. That speech, was that about us? I didn't blink. Wasn't it obvious? My father and Leo followed behind her, more cautious, like they didn't know what version of me they were about to face. My dad cleared his throat. You've done well for yourself. I stared at him. Yeah, I did. Without you. Leo looked away. My mom took a step closer. We didn't know you were the speaker, she said softly. We thought, maybe you were still angry. I said calmly. I'm still healing, but I've stopped waiting for an apology. Leo scoffed a little. Come on, man. You're acting like we robbed you at gunpoint. I turned to him. You did worse. You stood over my body while I was unconscious and took everything I worked for, and then smiled when I woke up. He shifted. I didn't know what else to do. You could have said no. My dad raised his hand. Enough. We came to say congratulations. That's all. No, I said, stepping forward. You came because you didn't expect me to be someone. You came to a youth event and thought you'd clap politely for some random kid, not the one you left behind. My mother's eyes welled up. Daniel, we never stopped loving you. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it hurt too much. You loved me when it was convenient. When I made you proud. But when it came down to choosing, you picked Leo. My father looked angry now. He's your brother, and I was your son. They went silent. People were walking past us in the hallway now, murmuring, recognizing me. I could see the confusion on their faces. The tension. That's when I leaned in and whispered. You don't get to share this moment. You sold it years ago. And I walked away. They didn't follow. They couldn't. Because this time, I was the one walking out. And they were the ones left behind. I walked outside into the evening air, letting the applause fade behind me. No more spotlights. No more speeches. Just peace. I stood by the sidewalk, watching the city move, cars passing, people laughing, life continuing. And I realized, I wasn't angry anymore. Not in the same way. The pain was still there, yes, but it had changed. It no longer ruled me. I wasn't that boy in the hospital bed anymore. I wasn't the son waiting for validation. I was Daniel, my own person, my own future. I didn't get justice the way I once dreamed of. My college fund was never restored. My family never said the words I needed to hear. But I had something better. I had built something with my own hands. I helped kids like me. I gave them what I never got: support, belief, tools to fight for their dreams. And every time I saw one of them succeed, I healed a little more. That was my revenge. Quiet, powerful, unshakable. My story didn't end in that hospital. It didn't end on stage. It started again when I stopped trying to make others see my worth, and saw it for myself. And if you're listening to this right now, wondering if you'll ever feel whole again, you will. Not because they change, but because you do. If this story touched you in any way, don't scroll past. Like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and hit subscribe for more real, emotional stories that matter. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone close? Let's talk about it. Your story might help someone else find their strength. We're listening.